Somebody's sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. We have the hanging bones, seeing the signs, order, moon in Virgo, and the harvest rune. So talking about money. And just what I was getting from this is that somebody might be doing something, either a practitioner or just abusing a trusted position, something like that, trying to get past your boundaries. And money is a pretty hot topic for that. I'm not sure why quite yet as to why they would want to be looking into your money. Maybe they're just, I don't know, a nosy Nelly who doesn't know how to stay in their lane. But it brought to mind this blog post that I've seen float around a few times. It's called The Missing Reasons. And it's talking about how estranged adult children, we do say something when we estrange ourselves. It just kind of conveniently gets left out where it can't be verified in like estranged parent support groups or something like that, or something like this, trying to access things they're not supposed to access, or they know that you've set boundaries with them, but then they'll conveniently leave out that they got a very lengthy message on social media or something like that, however it was communicated, like a list of reasons why as to the estrangement and to what happened. So we'll dig a little bit further into that. But before we get too far into it, I am officially a professional tarot reader. I've made my first dollar, or my first $5 actually. So big thank you to Ronnie for that. And I think that's a good example or fitting for the theme today, because that people leaving out context around estrangement, or oh, we just stopped talking and I wasn't sure why, they might not mention that, you know, I've been at this venture for a couple years now, and that first monetary support and even my first shout out about a year into the channel that came from Lucky Star Tarot. You should check her out too. These are both people I don't know. And I have people in my life, or had, rather, who knew I was doing this. And it just didn't actually provide that support that, like in person, yeah, okay, there were words of encouragement and whatnot, but it's the follow through that was missing. Like not liking or sharing anything about it. And maybe that's similar to what is going on here. That, oh, what is that term? It's like virtue signaling, performative support, things like that are going on in order to see what you have going on with your money. Because this looks like, just looking into it, I don't know if they're trying to obtain it, but we'll see. So what's going on with that? So maybe there's somebody involved that, like, they would say to somebody's face, like, oh yeah, we support them so much, and then it's like, okay, how? Do you have any examples? But that's kind of an interesting question to challenge people on. Because it seems so nice. Like the Good Samaritan, like just kind of take people's word for it. But if they're trying to gain access to something and it doesn't quite, like they're not supposed to have access to it, or you haven't actually seen these people talk in some length of time, I don't know. It's kind of a interesting position. Three of Swords. Heartbreak. And it looks like stabbing a box of chocolates. Where is that? Clock chimes. Oh, and I got the new mic too. So I've got the digital mute button now that shouldn't clunk when I use it. It should be a little bit nicer. But it's stabbing a box of chocolates. So is this someone who feels friend-zoned? Maybe? And I don't believe in the friend zone. The way I look at it is somebody who thinks they're in the friend zone. What really they're doing is showing their true colors, like showing their cards, that they entered in a friendship with someone with ulterior motives. Because, yeah, people are allowed to not be interested in others. It's not even a point of criticism at all whatsoever. But there's also this spilled over, like, journal and quill and ink. Like, I'm getting pining from this. But so, because they're pining, they're trying to look into somebody's money. Like, and some people do turn to punishment when they don't get their way. So, we'll see. And on the dice roll, I got 3rd house, Capricorn, and Jupiter. So those could be important areas of your birth chart that maybe have to do with abundance, depending on, and I mean Jupiter, certainly. Could be signs, houses, important to the person that you're dealing with. But they could be trying to divine on your birth chart. So those could be areas that are trying to be peered into. And that's really a given with any practitioner. Like, you know better. If you weren't given permission to some degree, like them coming to a YouTube channel and engaging with online readings and whatnot, that's a form of permission. But for somebody, say, to deliberately look into their ex's chart, something like that, when, like, no, they know better. That's bad consequences. Knight of Pentacles. Slowest knight in the deck. Those cows? It's like just making me think of being on a, I don't know, like a long drive or something. It's like, oh, cows. Like, you always say something, you know. Somebody wanting to offer their pentacle. Yeah, this is giving me that friend zone vibe too. Like, somebody waited a long time to offer their pentacle and they feel rejected now. Which, I mean, is that like a crush that turned into a fixation or something while they were in a relationship? Like, it already sounds messy, but, or even somebody who was waiting for you to be single for a really long time, which, again, it's like going into a friendship with an ulterior motive. Which that's a time stealer. Because the other person is thinking they're engaging in this for as it's presented, or at least presumably. Unless we've got, like, double crossing. Sounds even more messy. Order is in reverse, so I don't know. Knight of Wands in reverse, yeah. And then there's that dragon up top. So maybe this is who they were presenting to be, and this is who they actually are. It's like the difference between what I was describing at the beginning, people who say they're supportive and people who do supportive things. And Knight of Wands could be someone who loses their temper easily, trying to hide that beast within, as it were. And I'm kind of getting like a wandering eye, like looking out into the distance. That was our first mute test. But if, I don't know, maybe somebody struggles with wanting to be like the commitment type, but they just aren't. And then like perpetually cheating on people, something like that. Like, okay, maybe that type of relationship isn't for you. Something exclusive, something monogamous. But then there's this conflict of wanting to be in that more traditional role and just being unable to fill it because that's just not who they are. It's like a denial of self that they're pushing onto other people. And there's also a mix of entitlement. Like once you get into the punishment angle, like taking it upon themselves to go out of their way because they can't figure their stuff out to, well, then I get to look in your money when you said no. I get to cross your boundaries when you said no, like whatever those boundaries happen to be. Some sort of irrational thinking like that. Because it's not to say if your life's been one way and you want it to be another, that can't happen. It's going to take a lot of concerted effort for that to happen. It's not just wanting it isn't enough. You have to do the thing or do the things. It'd be like overcoming any sort of vice, addiction, temptation, what have you. So what? Kind of confused as to what makes them feel entitled. What makes them feel entitled to your money? Kind of sticking with that example since Harvest came out. And then the tarot companions to this card, it's actually the pages. And we got both knights here. So something's like mismatched. Just like an incompatibility? Could be. But why do they feel entitled to the money? The witch hunter in reverse. Something to do with a witch hunt? A witch hunt didn't work? That's why they feel entitled to your money? What? Tell me more. What about this witch hunt? Failed witch hunt. Practicality. Moon in Capricorn, another moon card. What is the moon doing right now? I don't know. But it's very orderly the way that that Virgo card is. Harvesting, plowing, just like the daily goings-ons. It didn't disrupt the daily goings-ons. Maybe of the witch. And that's why they feel entitled to your money? I'm not quite putting that together yet. And then oh, is this the masculine? Nope, this is the feminine. I always get confused because this looks like the Aries symbol. This is actually the feminine. So they feel entitled to your money because they were unable to disrupt just the day-to-day of a woman. Didn't exactly clear it up for me. But we'll see. So what about this woman? Tell me more. Failed witch hunt, and those were against women, yeah. And practicality, I think we can take that fairly literally then, because like the Salem witch trials, that was a land grab. So that was about a harvest, yes, against women. But what about this woman? Temperance, a patient woman? God, she sounds terrible. What? Balanced? Does yoga? Has a cat? Sounds like my kind of gal. She's got cupcakes too. She can keep the martini. But maybe some tea, something. Go with cupcakes. But she's got one eye open in this card. It's kind of an odd look. Like, can't get anything by her. It's giving me very, like, Zen master practicing on top of a rock or something. Looks like the cat has knocked over their own cupcake, so they've staked their claim. Cat's there to stay, woman's there to stay. But it doesn't mean she's exerting a bunch of energy to hold her position, kind of like what you would see in the Seven of Wands. This is a lot more of that be still and know that I am God energy. The surrender. She's kind of doing her own thing, which I guess is a problem. For why? Why is this a problem? It's like somebody being so rejected, feeling so friend-zoned that they must disturb her peace. Or can't conceptualize that she's fine by herself. Again, it's that same, back to that same example of like not disclosing the, oh, your kid actually explained it to you why they estranged themselves, and you've just been abusing the woe is me position to get access to things you shouldn't have access to. Like, wait a minute, I'm starting to see why this happened in the first place. I don't even need to see the message. Things starting to come together because she's fine. It's like that idea of you not fitting a narrative somebody is trying to paint. So maybe they're trying to agitate you, doing something to your money. Get somebody out of that temperance energy. Because maybe you're like anybody else trying to get along in the world right now. Maybe it's a little rough, and somebody doing something to your money is agitating. Not that it wouldn't be at any other time, but particularly right now. We've got the Chariot. So 14 and 7, so half. And then we've got Four of Swords and the Devil in reverse. That's the disturbance. Not permitting for rest. And maybe the Devil in reverse could be shaking this off your back. Could also be the devil being revealed. The mask being taken off. And this Chariot, it's actually a crossroads. It says this way or that way at the top of the card. Should either go left or right. Fork in the road. And the cat has her own little helmet and scarf that's very cute. And looks like she wants to go this way. So over to the right. More of an active path, maybe? She is blushing, though. So it could be seeing that one eye open, that she has to go this way in order to protect her harvest. And maybe the blushing is like frustration. That, like, oh my goodness, can I just live my life? Can we leave the witch on the edge of the woods, like me and my cottage? Just leave me be. Let me live my life. Leave me alone. But I guess not. Because of this Four of Swords and the Devil. The Devil could also be this narrative that you're not fitting. But the agitation is trying to push you in that direction. It just seems like a remarkably crappy thing to do to someone. And I mean, women are losing their lives for saying no to going on dates. There is no low. And that's, I think, what people don't understand when women try and come forward, especially about the nice guy. That is the mask that lets people do terrible things, is the nice guy mask. Nobody would believe the ruse if he was popping off all the time. That's why it has to be hidden. And that's why it has to present like the patient, steadfast Knight of Pentacles, when really they're a different person entirely. And it doesn't necessarily mean bad. I think whomever we're talking about here has stepped into their shadow for sure. But when you repress the authentic self, that creates like psychic friction, like friction within your psyche. And that beast within starts to churn. It starts to build up strength. And it can express itself as frustration, as I don't know, even cognitive distortions, start seeing the objects of your desire in a really distorted way, like all this red pill misogyny nonsense. Start thinking that, like, people owe you something. No. If they want to be as single as the day is long because that's how they feel, that's their business. What if they're asexual or anywhere on that spectrum that doesn't have anything to do with anybody else? And what if they're just not attracted to that other person? It's not, again, not personal. It's just their preferences with their, which they are completely entitled to. A no is a no, no matter what the, any qualifications or anything beyond it is. The no is the important part. Like, I don't mean to sound callous or cold or anything, but I try not to blur lines. You know, like, I wouldn't date somebody that I couldn't also be friends with. I want to explore that for sure. But if the intention is for dating and you get a no, and or I get a no and they keep going after that, I've probably tuned them out because I don't need any more information. Like, we're cool. It's all good. You know, I went through other phases when I was younger prior to therapy and stuff like that, and had my pick-me moments, and I learned where that was coming from. Came from a childhood where love needed to be earned, and that didn't translate very well into adult life. Cast the circle, raising vibrations. Talking about what's going on with you with trusted people, actual trusted people, people that are supportive. Is this the issue they have with you? Maybe you're actually doing this and not just giving the impression of it, because that tends to happen with women. We have the greater emotional burdens. Generally, they'll be dumped onto us, and so we have higher emotional intelligence just kind of as a baseline. And then we step in and we actually do the healing and we get to the core of the issue, and then it's like everybody's got a problem with it. I think because we find our voice as part of that process, how we've been suppressed, and start calling people out on the way that they've been treating us. If they've been doing things that are deliberately agitating, or they're sticking their nose where it doesn't belong, trying to violate boundaries and whatnot. The witch era, the crone era, it helps you raise your vibration. You know, you hear that phrase a lot. What does that mean? Emotional maturity, which does not equate emotional repression. So, is that what this person has an issue with? I guess so. They don't want you to have empathy? Or they don't have empathy for you? Moon in Pisces in reverse. Or maybe this is the narrative. Maybe the narrative that is trying to be spun is that you don't actually have empathy. That you're just doing the aesthetic, like the witchy aesthetic thing or something like that. But they're the one doing the witch hunt. Like, they're casting you in the role of the witch. And maybe you are, maybe you aren't a practitioner. Maybe they're trying to get people to focus on your practice as some sort of bad thing. Like, me making my first dollar. This might be somebody who sees that as bad. Maybe that's why they're looking into your money, as if it's any of their business. The only people that have any entitlement to what's going on with your money are you, taxes, your employers, employers, and any paperwork you have between them if there's like a moonlighting policy. That's it. The eye. The all-seeing eye. Eye of providence. Yeah, they want to see into your money. And it looks like this bird is holding a jewel down here. And it's like the jewel is speaking into the ear, whispering into the ear. Maybe they're trying to convince people that you're, I don't know, greedy for trying to make ends meet. If there's any sort of debt or anything like that, how can anybody have an opinion on anything? Because how many people are living with, like, medical debt, student loan debt, credit card debt, just debt. Because things are outrageously expensive right now. If they want to complain about how you're trying to make ends meet, well, what are they doing to improve the larger picture for people to live in? Are they just going to complain about how people try to problem solve? Or are they going to actually do something about it? Probably just complain. So what are they trying to get people to see about you in this narrative? Queen of Wands in reverse. Yeah, that's the eat, drink, and be merry queen, but in shadow energy. The party girl, the, I don't know, mistress of the night, if you will. Are they midnight ballerinas? This would be like somebody having an issue with somebody else having, I don't know, an OnlyFans or something. Like, but then how did you find it? How do you know about it? Did they share that with you? If no, how do you know about it? And just trying to get people to view you in a certain light, because when it comes to OnlyFans or even any type of sex work, whatnot, not everybody has an issue with that. Not everybody clutches their pearls over these morality crimes. I guess I've just never been one to look around at the oldest profession in the book that people are still clearly patroning. And if two adults agree to an access fee, two or more, whatever, agree to an access fee to their body, who cares? If they're making a profession out of it, pay your taxes, yeah, okay. And then if we stopped being morally snobby about it, then we could get them on, like, insurance plans. And I don't really see the downside to, this is just my own personal opinion, but bringing back brothels. Because then sex workers aren't being taken to unknown locations with strangers, like stranger danger. Even if you don't agree with sex work, then we agree with putting them in mortal danger? I mean, I just remembered about reproductive rights. But that's what my brain kind of lurched on right there. But it'd be somebody like that trying to cast you in this light because you see the world differently. Because it's like, miss me with this whole morality crimes. We're talking about consenting adults here, right? And, or people being able to choose what they do with their own body, just in any regard. And they think that somehow gives them license to interfere with your ability to pay your bills, for your monetary needs to get met, because you're doing something that they don't like. Then don't do that. You yourself, you don't do that. You don't tell other people what they can and can't do. Like, goodness gracious. Again, this whole, like, master of the universe. Right as that clock chimes. It's like, who do they think they are? Starting a whole witch hunt about how somebody earns their money. And maybe involving institutions. The Hierophant. More yoga. But that can refer to religious institutions, governmental bodies, whatnot. And could be abusing some sort of trusted position, leaving context out, but it's going to have real implications, because the Hierophant, whoever that represents, they've got the authority to, like, shut down this person's bank account or something. Or, if it was back in the day, if it was the church, they could, like, swarm the brothel or something. And how many of those girls back in those shows and whatnot, it's usually women. I don't see a lot of men in there. But what kind of conditions are they pulling them from? Like, they cover the same topic in Princess Mononoke. Now the women were given the chance to work the ironworks rather than be in the brothels. They were given a different choice. And who is this person to weigh in on what your choices are? Somebody who feels rejected? So somebody who's not staying in their lane, from the looks of it. So what about this Hierophant? Because that would be bad news bears in the short term for the witch, but long term for Knight of Wands in reverse, who couldn't contain their temper when did something stupid. The Lovers. Did they really think restricting your access to money would drive you into their arms? This could be somebody trying to white knight, like create a situation in your life to where they could be the savior, but they wouldn't need saving if it wasn't for this person. And it's still very twisted logic. It's like anything to capture you or whomever that this represents. This could be like family trying to regain control over someone, because Lovers doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. It's more like a duo, a choice, things like that. But how many times have we seen somebody try to escape their family just for people to not believe that individual, because like, oh, family first. Like, why? You don't know the background. Like, what caused this person to leave, and we're just gonna take it on someone else's word that they're just crazy, they just have mental health issues, that's why they stopped talking to them and then didn't come back? Are we sure? It's like people lose that capacity for critical thought so quickly. So, trying to get people to view the witch in a certain light to drive them back into the arms, the grasp of whomever is trying to control them. And what's getting in the way of this? Because I'm getting the sense that because divination or just any type of boundary violation has to be used, there's like something blocking it. And it could be your boundaries. Could be that. They're holding strong, holding steady, which that's the idea. So what's getting in the way? Midnight Moth, distraction. That you're focused? Okay. That you actually want to pursue what it is you want to pursue. Like, I think it's pretty clear that I enjoy doing this by this point. So it'd be something like that. Like somebody who maybe downplayed what you want to do. Maybe trying to start over, trying to do something else. But your focus, steadfastness, you're the true Knight of Pentacles. Actions speak louder than words. Louder than their little facade that they're trying to create. So what about this Midnight Moth? Lust in reverse. Venus in Aries. Keep her covered. And there's that chameleon. We were talking about that fairly recently. That chameleon personality. That'd be the nice guy that everybody's like, oh, but they're so nice to me. They don't abuse every single person they come into contact with. That would give them away. But what about this not lust? Are they... Man. Is this someone... Kind of got a strange vibe off of this. This might even be someone that's not even interested in you or whomever the witch is. But the idea of them not being interested in has like set them off in some way. Like it's hurt their ego that bad. It's like, how dare you not be interested in me? Like now this is just vengeance. Weird. Flight. So movement of thought. Flighty thought, maybe? And moths are kind of unusual in their flight pattern. Kind of all over the place. Maybe they can't decide how they feel about you. It's like flip-flopping energy. They're not sure whether they love or hate you. Something like that. It's like maybe just give it a rest, actually, and stop trying to interfere with somebody's money. Because you don't know how you feel. Or even if they're just mad. Interfering with somebody's money because they rejected you? That's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, for sure. That's the punishment aspect. Like, oh, we're in a whole new territory now. But what's this flighty thought about? Is that opinions being swayed, going around? So you're focused and they're all over the place. And that's what's bringing things forward? So what about that? It's like the tortoise and the hare, right as that clock chimes. Six of Cups. It's nostalgia. The soulmate card. Do they think you're their soulmate? This is not soulmate behavior, for sure. At least not one that's gonna last. But again, maybe that's that white knighting. They're trying to put themselves in the role of a soulmate without actually doing the work. Because masterminding somebody's financial downfall or financial strife so that they can woo them or whatever, or at least try to. And why do they think that would work? Even if trying to, start out the roommate situation on an ulterior motive, what are they planning if rejection occurs? Or are they so vain that that's not even crossing their mind? It could be that intense. And if you've recognized who this represents for you, probably stay away from this person. Just a thought. Got the Star in reverse. No healing to be had here. Like, don't heal this connection. If this is someone you already are not talking to. Could be some guilt tripping coming in. Maybe that is like the yet another attempt at proving that you're not empathetic or something. Like, I treated them horribly and they won't let me back in their life. They're big ol' beanie head. Well, I guess I'm a big ol' beanie head then. I don't have a problem being a big ol' meanie head, actually, because that's what boundaries are made of. Helps me keep them firm and strong. And if you're trying to carve a new path for yourself, we can get really caught up in the nostalgia of the what ifs. That, oh, maybe they did learn. But if they only learn when the results are in, like say you start your own business, start generating some serious income, things like that, or you go on, is American Idol still on? The singing show? I don't know. Whatever the equivalent of that is, you get scouted for something and now they want back in. Like, where were you for those 2 years, I hadn't made my first dollar yet. But now that I'm raking it in, here you are. No, that is not a connection to heal in my book. You know, you got to make your own choices and such. But maybe that's a reason somebody's trying to look into your money, trying to see when some sort of harvest is going to come in to try and repair the connection, like right before that happens. Man, my throat just got like really tight, as if I got a wave of anxiety. That could be it. I don't really know how somebody else would know about your harvest before you, but I don't know. People be people in. And we've got 10 of Cups in reverse, and then 2 of Cups. Actually, I think the 2 of Cups is somebody new. This is like, I think what might be being used to try and convince you that, like, don't go forward with your dreams. Go back to your family that made fun of you and was critical of you and was so neglectful of you that you ultimately estranged yourself. Like, why would you go back to that, actually? That's when you have to question those traditional values of, do you want me to be happy and healthy, or do you want me to be near my family of origin? It's like, what are you really asking for when people will jump on others and like, oh, don't say that, you know, you're better off without your family. Like, well, then why did I go my own way? Why did I start getting better? Those results kind of speak for themselves, you know. So 2 of Cups, that could even be part of the narrative too, that like you ran off with some new person just out of the blue. According to who? Out of the blue, according to who? People who you estrange yourself from? People who, with a straight face, will say they support you and can't be bothered to like or share what you're doing? It's free. It costs no money. It takes no effort to click those little buttons. And for people in your life, because I know I'm not the only one that's experienced this, it's like a common phenomenon I've seen. It's like when you want to know who your true friends are, try and start a business. And so a lot of people see this happen, kind of looking around for that support when you're really trying to change your life, trying to, I don't know, make an earnest change where maybe there were some failures before. Maybe you had to explore a little bit before you really knew what you wanted. And meanwhile, you've got people doubting you, mocking you, not actually supporting you, maybe using the words, but no follow through. Who are they to say what is or isn't out of the blue? Because it's not like they were taking you seriously anyway. And that, I don't know, what is it, clout chasing? Trying to ride your coattails? If they stop your forward progression towards this harvest, there's nothing for them to chase. Like, it's very irrational thinking. Like somebody who feels rejected, friend zone, whatever, would stop you from pursuing this path and then resent you for being quote unquote average when they're the one that they dragged you down. I don't know. it seems like a mess. If they have done anything official, I would pursue that appropriately in like a counter legal way. Because then they've created a paper trail. Like, they've created their own snare for them to walk into. That's not something I would let slide, for sure. And they might try and guilt trip you and like, well, I was just so mad and whatnot. You were just so mad that you tried to violate my privacy and you filed false reports and like, what are we talking about here? Going with the face-up ones. We've got Self-Care Sunday. And take yourself out to a meal. Go. Maybe some lunch, dinner, something. Brunch on Sunday. I know it's kind of busy on Sundays. But it has been pretty hot. That's definitely been keeping me indoors. In the air conditioning. Because it can definitely get to my head, this heat. So, somewhere cool. Because I don't think there's anywhere cold right now, unfortunately. But something for yourself to push this energy, this oppressive energy away right as that clock chimes. Because this can keep you like with your blinders on, and which is completely understandable because you might be trying to survive what this person is putting you through. That can get pretty heavy though, so don't forget to take care of you, to set aside time for self-care. Maybe set aside time for an everything shower. Been maybe skipping the legs or something. Just get it done, right? I know I haven't done a hair mask in a while, so that sounds pretty nice to me. So a few ideas. And stay grounded as per the usual. And if somebody is sticking their nose where it doesn't belong, keep those boundaries up. And overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.